Most people only understand what they're used to seeing. When someone shows up who doesn't follow the usual rules, they get labeled. Misunderstood. Judged before anyone takes the time to look deeper. That's exactly what happens to the Sigma male. The average person lives in a world built on social signals. They respond to status, popularity, group approval, and familiar behavior. When someone like the Sigma male walks in, someone who doesn't play by those rules, they don't know what to do with him. So they come up with their own answers. They make assumptions based on surface-level behavior. And they usually get it wrong. The Sigma male doesn't go out of his way to explain himself. He doesn't put energy into changing people's minds. That makes the misunderstanding worse. People are left to guess what he's thinking, why he acts the way he does, or why he doesn't join in with the crowd. To the average person, his silence looks suspicious. His confidence looks like arrogance. His independence looks like rejection. What they don't realize is that the Sigma male isn't acting strange. He's just not dependent on their world. And that makes them uncomfortable. They can't place him in a box. He's not the alpha who wants to lead, and he's not the beta who wants to follow. He's something else. He moves on his own schedule, thinks on his own terms, and stays calm while everyone else is reacting. In this video, we're breaking down the 6 main ways average people perceive the Sigma male. Some of these are based on fear, others on confusion, but all of them miss the truth. Because until you understand the mind behind the silence, you'll keep assuming he's something he's not. Way number 1. They see him as emotionless or cold. One of the most common labels the Sigma male gets is cold. People think he doesn't care, that he's distant, robotic, or emotionally shut off. But what they don't realize is that he simply shows emotions differently than most. The average person expects a certain performance when it comes to feelings. Smiles, small talk, open expressions, constant reassurance. But the Sigma male doesn't perform like that. He's calm, steady, quiet. And in a world that's always looking for emotional reaction, that calmness looks strange. People confuse emotional control with emotional absence. They assume that if he's not reacting, he doesn't care. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The Sigma male feels things deeply. He just doesn't need to broadcast it. He processes internally. He reflects. He responds when it matters, not just to fill silence. This difference creates a huge misunderstanding. The average person might try to get a reaction out of him and feel offended when it doesn't come. They might assume he's cold because he doesn't jump into every emotional conversation or show visible excitement. But in reality, he's simply not driven by emotional approval. This control gives him clarity. He can stay grounded in tense situations. He can handle criticism without breaking down. He can be there for people without making it about himself. That's not coldness, that's strength. But it's the kind of strength that's easy to miss if you're used to loud emotions. People who don't understand this will keep calling him distant. They'll say he lacks empathy. But the truth is, the Sigma male cares in ways most people overlook, through action, presence, and quiet consistency. Way number 2, they think he's arrogant or superior. When someone is confident but quiet, average people often mistake it for arrogance. They assume that if you're not trying to fit in, you must think you're better than everyone else. That's exactly how many see the Sigma male. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't try to match the energy in the room. That level of self-possession makes people uncomfortable. They expect others to seek connection or approval. When someone doesn't, it feels like a threat to their social balance. The Sigma male isn't trying to be above anyone. He just knows who he is. He doesn't feel the need to prove it. He's not loud about his accomplishments. He doesn't dominate conversations. He simply stands firm in his own space without needing to be seen. But in a world full of people trying to be liked, that quiet confidence looks like judgment. People assume he's looking down on them, that he thinks he's too good for the group, that he's holding back because he sees himself as special. The truth is, he's just not interested in pretending. He's not trying to impress anyone or play games. His focus is internal. He's more concerned with progress than performance. That mindset is often misread by those who are used to chasing approval. This misunderstanding can lead to tension. People may try to knock him down or test his confidence. But the Sigma male doesn't rise to that bait. He doesn't need to defend his worth. He lets results speak for themselves. To the average person, that silence feels like pride. But what they're really seeing is a man who doesn't need outside permission to believe in himself. Way number 3. They label him as a lone loner or outcast. When someone spends time alone by choice, it's easy for the average person to assume something's wrong. They see solitude and think rejection. They see a man by himself and assume no one wants to be around him, or that he can't function in a group. That's how the Sigma male often gets mislabeled as a loner or an outcast. But solitude doesn't mean isolation. The Sigma male doesn't avoid people because he's been pushed out. He chooses to be alone because that's where he thinks best, works best, and feels most aligned. It's not a reaction to rejection. It's a decision rooted in clarity. Average people often rely on constant interaction to feel secure. They need social circles to define who they are. When they see someone who doesn't depend on that, they don't understand it. They interpret peace as loneliness and independence as social failure. The Sigma male isn't hiding. He's building. He's reflecting. He's focusing. His time alone isn't empty, it's productive. But because he doesn't post about it or try to prove it, people assume he's disconnected or drifting. This label is one of the most common and also the most inaccurate. Sigma males are fully capable of connection. They can lead, collaborate, and communicate when it matters. But they don't need it every day. And they don't chase it for validation. That balance throws people off. They expect men to either be dominant alphas or passive betas. When they meet someone who moves alone but holds strength, it confuses them. So they call it being a loner, when it's actually a form of quiet leadership. Way number 4. They tie him to toxic or hypermasculine archetypes. The rise of the Sigma male in internet culture brought attention, but it also brought misunderstanding. A lot of people now associate the Sigma mindset with extreme characters from film, TV, and online clips. These are the dark, brooding men who show no emotion, use violence, or walk around like they're above the world. Characters like John Wick, Patrick Bateman, or fictional lone wolves get tossed into the same box. And because of that, the average person starts to believe that being a Sigma male means being emotionally cold, dangerous, or controlling. But the real Sigma male isn't about dominance or destruction. He's about discipline, control, direction. He doesn't reject society because he hates people. He simply sees through shallow systems and chooses a different path. The misunderstanding comes from image. The internet loves extremes. So people take the quiet, focused nature of a Sigma and turn it into a dramatic personality. Add in the grindset memes and emotionless clips, and now anyone who's calm and confident gets mistaken for someone dangerous. This perception causes tension. People might avoid him. They might assume he's aggressive or hard to deal with. But the truth is, Sigma males are often the calmest people in the room. They're the ones thinking before speaking, moving with intention and refusing to act on impulse. They don't shout. They don't force. They just move. But when people are used to chaos or loud personalities, that calm presence feels unnatural. And so they try to explain it using extreme labels, even when those labels don't fit. Way number 5. They believe he's just following a trend, Sigma grindset. Thanks to social media, the word Sigma has been turned into a buzzword. There are millions of posts, memes and clips of men claiming the Sigma title while showing off luxury cars, flexing in the gym, or giving advice they don't follow. It's become a style, a trend, and for many, a joke. Because of that, when the average person hears someone talk about being a Sigma male, they roll their eyes. They assume it's all for show. Just another identity people use to feel special or different. That's why the real Sigma male often gets misunderstood as someone who's just following an online trend. But here's the key difference. The Sigma male isn't performing. He's not posting quotes or tagging himself with buzzwords. He's living it quietly. He doesn't need the label because his life already reflects the values, independence, focus, calm, and self-leadership. The average person sees the online version and assumes that's what it is. They don't realize the real thing is often invisible. The Sigma male doesn't post his process. He doesn't explain his mindset. He just moves. So when someone sees his quiet behavior, his long hours of focus, or his refusal to chase approval, they assume it's a copy of a trend. But they miss the truth. The Sigma lifestyle came from within, not from online culture. And it existed long before the internet turned it into a meme. To the average person, it might look like he's doing what everyone else is pretending to do. But in reality, he's doing it for real, and that's what separates him from the noise. Way number 6. They assume he's antisocial or emotionally broken. When someone doesn't follow the usual social path, people assume the worst. If he's not constantly talking, smiling, or showing emotion in public, the average person starts making guesses. They say he must be emotionally damaged, that he's antisocial, that he doesn't know how to connect. This happens to the Sigma male all the time. He's private. He's observant. He doesn't overshare or insert himself into every situation. And because people aren't used to that, they assume it's a sign of dysfunction. But nothing could be further from the truth. The Sigma male is fully capable of connection. He knows how to listen, how to speak with purpose, how to read a room. He just doesn't do it unless it matters. He's not broken, he's selective. The average person is used to constant social proof. They talk to feel heard. They share to feel seen. The Sigma doesn't need that. His world isn't built on attention. It's built on meaning. So he engages when there's something real and stays quiet when there isn't. This throws people off. If he walks away from small talk, they assume he's cold. If he doesn't open up in a group, they say he's hiding something. If he chooses silence over sharing, they act like he's damaged. But all they're seeing is discipline, self-control, and a deep understanding of his own energy. The Sigma male isn't antisocial. He's anti-waste. He doesn't spend time or emotion unless there's a reason. And to people who need constant interaction to feel okay, that kind of control looks like a flaw, when really it's strength. The Sigma male lives in contrast to what the average person expects. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't move for approval. And because of that, people misunderstand him over and over again. They say he's cold when he's calm, arrogant when he's focused, alone when he's building, They link him to toxic images that don't reflect who he is. They assume he's copying a trend when he's been living this way for years. And they call him emotionally broken just because he keeps his emotions to himself. But all of those views come from the same place, people trying to understand a mindset they've never lived. A way of thinking that doesn't rely on group identity, social approval, or surface-level connection. The Sigma male doesn't need to be understood. That's not why he moves the way he does. He's not looking for permission or praise. He's just living life on his terms, focused, steady, and free. And for the average person who depends on the crowd to feel secure, that kind of independence can be hard to see clearly. But whether they get it or not, the Sigma male stays the same. Quiet. Clear. Unshaken.